Spring has just begun here in the greater West Bloomfield and in Michigan. And joining us now to talk about the beginning of spring sports at West Bloomfield High School is Eric Pierce, their athletic director at West Bloomfield High School. Eric, thanks so much for joining us on The Splash today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Maddie. I appreciate it.
So, Eric, can you first talk a little bit about your role as the athletic director for West Bloomfield High School and talk about some of the responsibilities and things that you deal with there?
For sure. My role as the athletic director is for the whole district. So we handle middle school sports as well as high school sports throughout my office. A lot of it, especially when it comes down to when spring, it deals with a lot of scheduling and rescheduling of events thanks to Mother Nature out there. We make sure that the facilities are scheduled out properly. We make sure that the coaches have our support. We make sure that we provide all the athletic supplies that the teams need. And also transportation and that everything's coordinated.
And Eric, before we hop into some of the exciting things that are happening with the spring sports here in our West Bloomfield School District, this past fall and winter, West Bloomfield has definitely put itself on the map with a state championship win for the girls basketball team and the snowboarding team. Can you talk a little bit about what that means for the athletic programs, especially here in West Bloomfield?
It's obviously huge, and to see, especially our girls snowboarding team, it kind of came out of nowhere. They're obviously very talented girls. We were one of the last teams to qualify for the state competition, and to see them rally and perform the way that they did was truly something that was amazing. I was texting back and forth with Bill Lambert, the coach of the team, as it was going on, and it was just like that holy cow moment that when we found out that they won the state title. It's obviously one of our newer sports, even though it's been around for a few years now, and to establish ourselves as a stronghold in girls snowboarding, it's a great feeling. The girls basketball team, we were looking at this from the beginning of the year. Obviously, a lot of the team and the coaches and everybody said, "Hey, it's going to be a state championship this year. This is a year that we're going to make a run." And to watch them perform throughout the postseason and the regular season, and see the big wins that they had throughout the regular season, whether it was winning the league and going undefeated or beating DEPSA. This is a team whose only loss was the first game of the season, and to see them and how they played together, and being at the Breslin Center and seeing their performances and how everybody contributed, it was truly a blessing. And I tell you, the state of West Bloomfield athletics is fantastic right now.
And Eric, now looking at some of those spring sports, they have just begun a couple weeks ago. Can you give us some insight into what types of sports are in season right now in the West Bloomfield School District?
Yeah, for sure. We have a number of sports, a variety of sports that are in season right now. When we think about our spring sports calendar, one of the first things that comes to mind are the baseball and softball teams. So we do have them participating on our wonderful turf fields here at the high school. So baseball and softball are two of the sports there. We have girls tennis that's currently going with the JV and varsity team right now. Girls soccer, girls and boys lacrosse, girls and boys track and field are both going as well. And we have boys golf and sailing too. And then, so a lot of different options for athletics here in the spring.
And then Eric, you talked a little bit about how scheduling can be really difficult in the spring, especially in Michigan. Thus far, we've had a little bit of snow, a little bit of rain. Looking into the rest of the school year into June and July while these spring sports teams will be playing, what are you guys looking forward to most with the weather hopefully holding out for their seasons?
So it does get a little tough, Maddie, with the scheduling of everything. And we're very fortunate to have the turf fields for baseball and softball because both of them are off and running. And then to also have our stadium field, which is turf. It allows boys and girls lacrosse as well as soccer it allowed them to play a little bit so far. Tennis is just starting to get going. Same with golf. The courses out there are just starting to get ready to rock and roll. So, we have had some teams that have had a little bit of a hiccup or a delay. But once we get around to right about now, we're hoping that Mother Nature cooperates with us a little bit better, and we can start getting all of our games and matches in. Because what the challenge is in the spring sports, you'll see that we schedule all these games early, and then when they can't be played, they have to be rescheduled. And then all of a sudden, instead of a team playing 2 or 3 games in a week, a baseball team could be playing 6 or 7 games, and same with softball. And it just really gets tough to find a way to get all the games scheduled in.
And then, Eric, as we're kind of heading out of the pandemic, restrictions are relaxing a little bit. Can you talk about some of the specific teams that last year maybe missed out on a couple of their games or a majority of their season because of the COVID protocols, and what they're looking forward to most with the season?
Well, I think what they're looking forward to most is having the fans in the stands and more people at the games and events, and not having to deal with the daily checks for COVID and all the contact tracing that we had to do and everything of that nature. Everybody always says return to normalcy, and it does. It feels a little more normal this year, and that's nice. And as athletic directors, we always attend our meetings, and our last meeting, we didn't lead with COVID for like the first time in forever. And it was a good feeling not to have to do that. Now, obviously, we're still taking precautions. We're still making sure everybody's safe. But at the same time, there definitely is more of a feel with the outdoor sports that are going on right now, like things are back towards normal. And the student athletes are just excited to play and to play a full schedule and to not have to worry about a season getting canceled right now.
Well, Eric, it was a pleasure to have you on The Splash with us today. Thanks so much for giving us a little bit of update with the spring sports, and I'm sure everyone will be keeping up to date with the schedules happening this season.
Anytime, Maddie. Thanks so much for having me on.